Hi, this is for my interpersonal communications presentation for final, and I chose to do my paper on the film Redeeming Love. So let's get into that. I thought that this film at first would be super cool to do, and then as I was doing it, I was like, this is kind of complicated. And so I almost switched, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, it really does set a good example for many interpersonal relationships. So the whole movie is based on the book of Hosea, where God tells Hosea to go and marry a prostitute. And Hosea's like, what in the world, God? Like, why do you want me to do this? And he's like, I have a plan for you, but you need to wait 7 years for this woman. And so Hosea listens, and he's an obedient servant to God. And so in the movie, their names are Angel and Michael. And Angel is, her real name's Sarah, but she's the prostitute. And Michael is God's servant. And just from like everything that we've talked about in class, I can see how each thing relates to this movie. Like Angel, she is the autonomous self who believes that she is just fending for herself, that she's the only thing that's important. And it makes sense because she's been abused and neglected and just treated horrible by people her whole life. And she has only ever been shown love by her mother until Michael comes along. And so I think that she shows that, and how also your atmosphere affects you as a human being. And that pulls in like the triadic relationship to human beings, because we can't just become who we are by ourselves. Like, we need our atmosphere around us. We need the people around us to build us up. And if that is not going to be positive, then what we are going to become will not be positive. So I think that the relationship of Angel does a really good job at portraying that. And then for Michael, he is reminds me of portraying and embodying Christ, because he's so patient and he's so loving and very, very obedient to God's word, just like Christ was through the whole passion. And even during the movie in parts, I'm sure in the film, I've never read the film, but I've heard it's pretty similar. Michael is like, God, why do you want me to marry this woman? Like, couldn't you have made it a little bit easier on me, you know? And that kind of reminds me of when Christ was in the Garden of Eden, and he's like, if like, you please take this cup, but if not, like, let your will be done, you know? Like, if I don't need to suffer through this passion, please take it away from me. But if I do, like, I will do it, and I will get through it, because that is your will, God. And it's kind of crazy to think about, actually. But I think that Michael really embodies Christ, and especially with his patience and his kindness, and especially his mercy, his acts of mercy and his mercy altogether. He never once was angry. I'm sure his heart was very crushed and hurt by Angel running back to the whorehouse over and over again and sleeping with other men. But she never truly believed that Michael loved her. And I think that as human beings, like, we struggle with that too, to understand that, like, God is so much bigger than us, and that he really does love us no matter what we do. And even though, like, after we sin, we just want to keep going back to prison, just like she wanted to go back to the whorehouse, because she didn't believe that Michael really loved her. And so in our lives, we, you know, sin, go to confession, we're freed from everything. He brings us back into the light, and then we're like, nope, we're not worthy of this, let's go back to sin, just like she went back. But God just wants us to come home to him over and over again. And I think in this class, that's probably one of the biggest things that I've learned, is like that world and in our world, it's not about us, and it's not about what we want or what we think we need. It's about following what God's plan is for us, and to think more about what we can do to serve God and other people in our daily lives. Also, I would just like to say really quickly, Dr. Bonanno, when you watch this, I'm so sorry. I really tried the best I very, very could for my paper, to portray everything that I just said in my presentation on the paper. And so I hope that it makes sense. And I appreciate you, and this class was awesome. So thank you for listening to my presentation.